It's their battle to destroy the evil forces of the Decepticons, the Transformers. The Transformers. More than beastly the Transformers.
Welcome back, one and all, to another exciting edition of Transformers Reviews. Well, everybody, just to give you a little bit of a heads up, today's format is going to be a slight bit different because this video was set up to actually do it as a dual review with Still Raven 21. However, because our homie is busy moving states, I decided...
Fine. I'll do it myself.
Which is per usual of this channel. And I want to go ahead and mention to everybody that if you have not seen, we actually put up a poll asking your opinion. Which would you rather see, a video on Deathsaurus or the Shattered Glass Sideswipe and Hot Rod? Or Rodimus, I guess as they call him. But anyway, if you guys don't mind checking that out if you have not already. And aside from that little bit of housekeeping, one thing we're going to go ahead and state going forward is that these guys have had a very terrible time having good names applied to them because Hasbro doesn't want to apply pre-existing character names to licensed crossover figures. However, I don't have such compunctions, so JP12 or Nedrybot will be now called Rollbar, and Dilophocon will be called Spittor because, well, it just seems appropriate. So, looking at this first picture here, you can see that as is standard with Jurassic Park, for some reason they love hoisting boxes into the air. That box in particular actually held a lot of the special things like the Spittor's blast effect, a lot of accessories for Rollbar. Also, Spittor's frills were detached and in the box, so it is a cool way to include accessories. Now, when we actually move on to how this setup is supposed to be displayed, and I love the scaling, plus the backdrop with the waterfall and the east dock, and I mean, it's doing what it's supposed to, evoking our memories of the scene of that movie. And looking at Dilophocon here, this figure is really cool as the dinosaur is ever supposed to represent, because I don't ever recall having a Dilophosaurus transformer, so it's doing something for me that I did not expect. Especially when you put the blast effect in Spittor's mouth, it is the colors and everything, especially on this backdrop. Yeah, it just looks really awesome. So I wanted to show you what Spittor would look like with another beast that has some giant frills sticking off of his neck. However, we did have to put our two dinos up against each other because, as we know, Rexy is basically the top dog. And so I think it was only appropriate that Spittor shows submission to Rexy, who looks very appeased at her new servant. And then when we come to Rollbar, if you compare this to actually Outback, I prefer Rollbar's alt mode. And because, of course, it's a cooler looking Jeep as opposed to a Ford Explorer. So, I'm sorry, I have a weakness towards Jeeps. Plus, an iconic part of the movie is whenever Nedry actually uses the tow cable on the front, or the power winch on the front of the Jeep. So I like that little detail, and the fact that it comes back into play later, we'll get to that.
It's overwhelming, John. Are these characters erotica? No.
So finally moving on to robot mode, you can see here that this robot was actually modeled on Wayne Knight that played Nedry. Now, to be honest, I am not a fan of the head of this robot. Now moving on to the hat, this is not actually what he wore in the movie, it was more of a raincoat. Plus this is not specifically supposed to be Nedry, but it's kind of a goofy accessory. You can see here probably the most infamous accessory that our boy is rocking, which is a Autobot equivalent of the Barbasol can.
Really could have used this 25 years ago.
And you can see here that inside of the Barbasol can, it does have the DNA cylinder. Now, If you notice what's in his hand, I said that the power winch would come back into play, and yes, that does form one half of his rifle. So you can see right here that nub is specifically designed to connect to just the DNA cylinder. And once you finally put the blast effect on the end of the DNA cylinder, I think it looks good. But I wanted to show you that, like we saw in vehicle mode, Rollbar is significantly smaller than Outback. I kind of feel that's a thing with this set. I feel like this set overall, we got less. So, here is a little bit more of on par with the movie, where our boy comes across the dinosaur, and unknowingly, you can see here amid hawking a loogie that Rollbar is getting ready to have a bad time. And you can see that there he is falling on the ground after getting, like I said, a dino loogie in his face. However, our boy is not about to go out like that. Rollbar ends up getting a shot off and shooting Spittor in the mouth, which may be poetic justice. So you can see here that after Rollbar got a shot off on Spittor, there they are laying on the ground, possibly playing possum. And you can see that they take the advantage to terrorize, I guess if this was a Predacon, at least, at the very least, transform somehow, taking Rollbar by surprise. Now I think for this robot mode design, the head is awesome, how it kind of looks like it's armored up. I love the giant frills forming the bits behind the head. When you start to look at these two, you kind of are like, hold on here, there is a lot of similarities. That actually being the original Iguanus. And here you can really start to see that if they tweaked just a few things about this mold, you would have a new iteration of a Beast Wars character that the DNA is already there, and it would be kind of silly for Hasbro not to capitalize on it. Now, back to our little brouhaha between Rollbar and Spittor. If perhaps maybe Rollbar was looking for his dino adversary at night. Now here you can see that we have these guys in close quarters combat, and it's not too long before somebody steps up to the plate to interfere. And due to that interference, here we can see our boy laying on the ground as we peer through the legs of somebody who wears knee-high prehistoric kinky leather boots, or what appears to be them. And of course it is our girl Rexy showing up to save a fellow dinosaur. However, Spittor likewise gets an unexpected blast from an unexpected source. Much to Rexy's dismay and aggravation, it is our boy Outback stepping up to the plate. However, as we said, Rexy does not take kind to one of her own being threatened, and you can see here that she's threatening to either blast or bite off Rollbar's head, yet our boy is not averse to using his own threats. I think more than likely we can assume that Outback proposes that they end hostilities for today and do a prisoner exchange, which I think that it just prolongs the conflict on Isla Nublar, but hey, you know what, I'm down for more stories. So here we can see that our boy is getting some repairs after getting beat up. And in the background, if you look, we actually have Outback kind of questioning him on why he had such highly classified goods with him. So it kind of casts a dubious light on our boy Rollbar. And then you can see here Rexy sitting upon her throne. It just makes so much sense for her to have her own, to start building her own crew. And if they keep adding dinosaurs, I kind of look forward to adding on to this. Because as you can see here with this picture where Spittor basically is the royal guard to Her Highness Rexy, who's rocking her crown, along with Sky Shriek, who's kind of like the executioner because you can see that he's rocking an axe over there. Yeah, I'm definitely down. This is probably one of my favorite pictures. That and the one where they're kind of battling at night, to be honest. And other than that, everybody, that's pretty much the end of the video. I hope you guys enjoyed our look at these latest Jurassic Park editions. Like I said, if this one does well, who knows, maybe we'll get like a Jeff Goldblum Transformer that turns into the helicopter they use to come and escape off the island, you know? Who knows? But anyway, other than that, like I said, be on the lookout for... We got a couple more videos coming out this year. I wanted to wrap it up with a few more, and this was just one of those ones. So until next time, everybody, we'll see you in another review.